Query. Question for you guys. Like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And this is something that I've been pondering for a while now. And I'll just run it by you guys. Let me know what you think. I'll post this video on Facebook and maybe LinkedIn and see if any inquiring minds would like to chime in. Because most people aren't like thinking about this. Most people are in some kind of state of survival mode. I don't understand it. Everything is so temporary, right? I mean, it's like, why would you worry about any of that stuff? All you have to do is keep breathing. You know, positive energy out, and then you get supported on the way back in, right? It's just a circuit. So, that being said, what would make the most sense to start a project to, what would be the most helpful for humanity, right? A, creating equal incentive and accountability groups so that we're all treating each other equally because we're all this, you know, we're all the Dharma, right? The infinite intelligence that's creating out of itself. And so there, you know, if you're living in some kind of illusion that you're better or worse than anybody, you know, that's all stuck in your mind. Because all of us are just, you know, anybody can raise their awareness and change their DNA and conquer their body, conquer themselves, you know, and anybody can become a channel to heal other people. You know, all that is, you know, is all easy to do. You know, it's not super easy, but it's like, you know, things that, you know, you can do to conquer that reality. Conquering the self or conquering the ability to work together as groups, or both. I don't know. What do you think, Dylan? My son's staring at me.
How much should I
put in the washing machine?
Yeah.
Just put whatever's in the laundry basket, and then whatever you need to wash. I don't know. I don't have any dirty stuff right now. There's stuff in the dryer that I haven't unloaded that just got done drying. So
What soap do I use?
there's only one thing of soap up there on top, the white one.
The one you poured?
Yeah.
Do I just use the plastic cup?
Yeah. Anyway. So one aspect, right? I mean, you can raise your awareness and raise the frequency that you're running at. Like, I mean, just doing one simple 3-day fast with my brother last week, I noticed just a monumental change in the way my frequency, how I felt, because your body starts to heal itself from the inside out. You can even do it without drinking water, because then your body, then it goes into like, now you're creating the vessel that you're in. And if you actively understand that that's what you're doing, you'll lose like the feeling of needing to eat at all. Your energy levels start going up. You start just like ticking up like this, you know, mastering this 3-dimensional reality. Eventually you just phase out, right? Is that going to help everybody else here? Because, I mean, like, you know, society right now is generally feeding on each other. I mean, go, you know, how much ads do we get, you know, bombarded by of people just trying to feed on you? It's trying to sell you something. It's like, yuck, bleh. It's just so goofy, right? I mean, if their first act is to sell, you're ignoring the whole like circuit that you're living in, right? It's just a big electrical circuit. Just provide and then you'll receive, you know, I mean, and be open to receiving. Simple as that. So create something, right? And then be open to receive. Like, I'm just finishing writing a book. Make sure that, you know, I'm creating something so that I'm receiving something. And I know that I have to do it on that level, for one thing, to elevate awareness, right? Elevate the group collective. More than anything, you just want to plant seeds. But if you elevate your own consciousness too fast, then you kind of pull away from, and then you're gone, right? I mean, how many yogis just like disappeared into light bodies, and then the knowledge that they got through that experience was lost. You know, there were groups, you know, in Egypt and all kinds of areas where they had profound knowledge and understood, that we're living in this field of infinite intelligence, and that's what everything is, I think it's one of the Hermetic laws, is everything is mental. It's like the first Hermetic law. It doesn't, there's certain things that the Hermetic laws don't talk about, like everything comes from and goes back to one point of consciousness, which is why everyone is profoundly clairvoyant. It's just, unless you understand how to unlock that stuff, you won't be. You'll just be locked in your own mind because you're too busy worrying in some kind of fight or flight response most of the time. Because if you're thinking negatively about anything, you're in some kind of fight or flight response. If you're thinking about anything negative out there, it's like, oh, this is bad, you're at odds with it, right? You've just created a barrier. So you're trying to feed off of it unknowingly. Thinking negatively will actually pull from that. And then this is on your creative side. So unless you're thinking positively about it, then, right? So your higher self starts to drop in when you start to understand that, because everything is growing. It might not look like it on the surface. Like, I hear people say, oh, the attacks in Israel are evil. It's like, no, it's just people feeding on each other. It's like animals feed on each other. It's not evil, right? It's just a lower animal nature. And if you want to feed on each other, keep trying to sell each other products. Right? Without providing, especially if you're not providing anything of value in return. It's different, when you're actually providing real value, and but usually you want to kind of provide first and receive second, because for one thing, that teaches you more about yourself. You'll end up falling into some pretty nasty karmic cycles if you constantly just selling the product and not get, nobody's really getting anything out of it. Then you have so many people feeding off of you. I mean, you're gonna have to like look in the mirror for a while and figure out why all this stuff's happening to you. Stay away from black magic. No love spells. No any of this crap. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. So you want to stay in, love, and make sure that you're sending positive love out to your environment, and that's what you go back, because it just keeps seeding seeds of truth. But where am I going with this? Right? I mean, is it easier to build equal incentive groups, to build products, to kind of start building the kind of society that we want to live in, or teaching people how to become free from physical reality completely? Because then you would never need to even try and build anything, right? You're just living as like little kids in nature, naked. You can just manifest yourself wherever once you get to a certain place, because there's going to be so much energy moving through the system. And I kind of think that's possibly where we could be going anyway. It's hard to say. You can look into the future a little ways, but most of it's blocked. We're still quite a few years from going through the galactic equator, where there's going to be so much energy and information moving at that point, where everything's just, it's like a flashover. It's like, you're right. It's a sine wave going through. It's that 0 point where, right, everything, the field completely collapses. And so you become a pure conductor, bang, for a very short amount of time. So what happens, I mean, even in the religious texts, it says, we don't even know what we shall be. So, our whole form could change. We could even stop looking human, be some other thing, turn into a grapefruit. I was joking about with my brother that this weekend, we were turn into grapefruit. But at the same time, so as inflation rises and people can't take care of their basic needs, teaching people how to work together effectively is pretty important. But maybe it's part of the divine plan where people get a shortage of food and things break down. So they're forced to understand how to rely on each other, or not only but move closer to each other, but raise their consciousness to where they don't even need to eat that much, right? Maybe earth changes that we're going to see through this field collapse are going to be so severe that you're not going to want to, things will change so much that be forced into raising your consciousness to this point where trying to build equal incentive groups would be a waste of time, right? I don't know. I'll let you guys ponder this and think about it for a bit. In the meantime, I think I'm just going to try and keep creating positive energy and, just starting a project, and everything happens kind of divinely. So I was talking to a business friend yesterday, and because I thought about, I don't know what you guys do for a living, or what kind of coaching or consulting you guys do, but helping businesses, move towards a more healthy model where you're a little more equal incentive and accountability, where you're creating contracts so that groups hold each other accountable instead of having to rely on somebody else. Because anytime you have a third party that comes in to take care of disciplinary stuff, it's always a mess, right? Every single group can always point to the person. Excuse me I just ate. I had a taco. Every single group can point to the person that they don't want in the group, right? And you can create a system where you hold each other accountable that way. So just like any other thing, give them warnings: first warning, second warning, third warning. After the third warning, then they're gone. Give them the option of going somewhere else where they'd be more effective, or just kick them out of the company. Why don't we do it that way? Why don't we have groups that self-manage? People have control issues. They would rather say who goes and who stays and not even know the person. I mean, how many of you guys have witnessed dysfunctional laying offs and firing in your life? I think almost, I would say 90% of every single time I saw someone get fired or laid off, it was bullshit, right? It was just somebody in an office somewhere just thinking that that's the best idea. You don't really know somebody unless you're working with them, and the people that you work with are never the ones in charge of your fate. Why is that, right? That's not how it works in nature. That's not how it works in your family household. A family holds each other accountable. We all do. Why don't we work that way? Narcissism and money, that's why. And so, the only reason that money even exists is because of that animal nature, the people feeding on each other. Because if most of the population is feeding off each other, you have to have a storage of energy to enable them to do that. And that's why the inflation rate keeps going up. And I think I've made a couple videos about this before. But, if over 50% of the population were in their creative energy and just naturally receiving, then everything would start to kind of even out if it went over 50%. But that's definitely not the case, right? How many people are creating things and naturally receiving from what they create? It's got to be less than, 20%. I mean, even a vast majority of the spiritual community are not creating anything. They're just selling you a healing service or something like that, right? Nothing's being created. You're just saying, oh, you are less than whole, so I need to help you and you need to pay me for that. Which is basically a lie. Everyone is whole. All of us are creators. And so if I were to tell you that you're not whole, I would be lying to you. You don't need me to heal you. You are perfectly capable of healing yourself. You just have to understand how to do it, right? So, yeah, that's a thing, right? And it's different if you're creating things like, you're creating physical manifestations that you can use physical money to buy, and that's fine. But how many people are doing that, right? Not very many. So, I don't know. Positive energy is good. Giving and receiving is good. But what direction, right? What's the healthiest way to help humanity as a whole? There's so many people that can't afford housing, have to work every day because they don't have enough money to afford the housing in the area. Even a minimum wage job won't provide that unless they maybe partner with over 5-6 people. That's what it's like in Seattle and Portland right now. It's sad, and people feeling comfortable moving out of where they're at. Most people are afraid of change. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What path would you choose? And maybe this conversation is not relevant to whatever you have planned for your life. I don't know. I don't know where you guys are at or who's watching. But anyway, love you guys. And like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll catch you later. Bye.